What's up, everybody? Sunday night, November 22nd, 2020. This is your WWE Survivor Series 2020 pay-per-view recap. I am Don Tony. As always, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the support. And I tell you, not often that yours truly is wrong with ideas, predictions, and I'll tell you, tonight, The Undertaker going out, although I don't believe this is the end, the chapter is over, because, you know, Vince always wants another, always wants another, always wants another. And a little bit of Undertaker, hell, look at WrestleMania with AJ Styles. Would we complain if we got one more like that? I mean, you know, you're not going to postpone a year, 2 years, 3 years, because who knows if he could do another a couple of years from now. But I'll be honest with you. You know, I thought of the idea a couple of weeks ago because I like to think outside the box. I said, you know, what about the idea if Retribution were to come out, or somebody, some of you had said The Fiend, some other names, somebody comes out and at the very end attacks The Undertaker, ruins it. You ruined it, damn it! You ruined it! Oh, no, I'm sorry. You have to put an H before ruined. That's how Vince used to say it. Remember? It's, you ruined it, damn it! You ruined it! But you know what? Going off the air tonight, no controversies. Just thank you, Undertaker. Farewell, Undertaker. I could live with that. I'm older, and it does make me depressed sometimes. But one thing I will tell you, the pleasure of being older, like I am, I got to enjoy The Undertaker's entire 30-year career as The Undertaker in real time. I mean, just think about it. 30 years today was this infamous Survivor Series match. The Dream Team versus the $1 Million Team. Now, you look at that card. Of course, Dusty, legend, Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil. Now, they're all legends. They're all Hall of Famers in my book. Coco Beware, maybe borderline, but they're all Hall of Famers, you know? But does anybody really remember the specifics of that match other than The Undertaker appearing and, you know, having a couple of impressive feats that night against some of his opponents? You don't remember the specifics, and that will go for a lot of the Survivor Series matches tonight. You go over the years, and we talked about it Friday when we did predictions, that we felt that a lot of the Survivor Series matches tonight was not really pushed as much as years past, because I think at the end of the day, we'll always remember this Survivor Series, for the most part, as, you know, the thank you, Undertaker, farewell, Undertaker, and, you know, what an illustrious career. I don't think it's completely over. If it's over, and you remember, we said this back in WrestleMania, and you know why we don't want it to be over? Because we're wrestling fans. And we're selfish. You know, we want the career to continue. Yes, you could go on the WWE Network and watch him in his prime. Yes, you could go on the WWE Network and see matches that you've never seen before. But everybody becomes mortal. And it's sad. It's sad. Everybody has to stop at some point in their life. And us, even when people pass. I mean, let's be honest. You know, you have a loved one, and they have some serious illness, and you want them to, even though there's, I don't want to be so dismal, but even if you know that there's no hope, you want to fight, keep going, don't stop. You know, because, and some of it, let's be honest, is our selfishness inside that don't want to say goodbye. I put my dog to sleep a couple of years ago. I still get haunted every couple of weeks in my dreams. My dog comes back, just happy, and I wake up thinking that he's still alive. And then the reality kicks in, and I've woke up a couple of times crying. And I've remembered those last couple of days, you know, having to make the hardest decision of my life, having him put down. But, something that, I realized inside, I'm selfish to want him to keep continuing to go through. You just don't want to say goodbye. And I know it's a bad comparison, but we just don't want the career to end, no matter who the wrestler is. That's why I say, there's people on social media that are just really with the butt hurt and the real insults, whether it's Jericho and they make fun of his chest or this other things, enjoy the final years of some of the wrestlers that are out there still busting their ass. Because a couple of years from now, what'll happen? A lot of those haters and those wannabe stand-up comedians on social media, what they'll post? Looking back on it, he actually did have a great career, and I actually kind of did. There's always regret after the fact, and I think you should just enjoy, everybody who is still given to you, whether it's Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy or whoever it is that are on, the twilights of their career. You don't know if it's going to be a year, 5 years. Jericho, you could go on and on and on and on and on. None of us want to say goodbye. But let me tell you something. I have said this for years and years and years. And if anybody follows our shows on a regular basis, Mish and I have had some really serious discussions about it. And it has to do with, just mental health and depression. And the one thing that I have always said repeatedly, not every week, but a lot of you know it already, that whether you have a blue check mark or if it's just nobody's like us, at the end of the day, we all bleed the same, we all hurt the same, we all cry the same. And that's why, you think you're funny, and then you see the documentary that aired about Lana. See her in that ring and crying hysterical. I take pride that a lot of you out there, Mish, myself, and others, have actually rooted for her, because you don't like her TikTok, don't watch it. You don't like her in-ring action, change the channel. You don't like the storyline, you rip WWE. You don't make the girl feel like shit that she wants to, just call it a career and calling family. I mean, who the fuck are you? Seriously. And I'll be honest with you. I actually enjoyed this tonight. I actually enjoyed it. For everybody out there that ripped it, I thought about Carmella not cashing in the briefcase for a year. And she set the record, had the briefcase the longest. And what did I say at that time? That's not on her, that's WWE creative. They couldn't figure out what to do with the briefcase, so she made history in futility. That's not her fault, it's WWE's fault. But I tell you, to do this, people I think forget that this is entertainment, that this is a soap opera, and sometimes in the end, good does prevail. And some of the crappy of storylines in our lifetime, good has prevailed. One of the worst storylines that I despised as a wrestling fan, it made me feel uncomfortable, when Linda McMahon was in a wheelchair like this, and you got Vince teasing, making out with Trish Stratus in front of Linda and this and that. And I remember this is early in the internet days when it started blowing up. And people were complaining, all these groups are all upset. And they actually had to say, you got to let the storyline play out. Let it play out, let it play out. And in the end, go back and watch it. As much as I hated that storyline, when Linda McMahon got up from the wheelchair, just standing up, she got one of the biggest pops in recent memory. And in the end, she prevailed. People forget, this is a soap opera. This is entertainment. Lana has been fed plates of shit for the longest, not just by WWE writing, but by a ton of people on social media, that misery loves company. And, you don't like her dancing. Okay, just don't watch it. No, you got to really put her down. And look, I'm not the biggest Lana fan. And there's other people out there that are less than spectacular on TV. But my God, these people out there, it's just, makes me laugh about it, and we'll move on. We'll get into super chats. And it's just me just talking off the cuff right now. You know what makes me laugh Really makes me laugh. And I know what I'm about to say is going to make some people uncomfortable, but I am one. It's probably one of my greatest assets and probably one of my worst assets as well. I tell you how I feel. I don't give a shit how people feel about it. But, you know, when Lana cried on that video, I saw a bunch of jerk-offs that I stay away from as much as I can. You know, I continue, like, just throwing daggers. Oh, she's faking this and that. Oh, crocodile tears. Look at all the money she's gotten, this and that. I mean, what do you want to do? Pull a bullet in her head? You know, Hana Kimura, oh, we all got to be better. We can't be, you know, it doesn't matter who it is. You know, you don't understand how much you hurt people. It's the formula. A lot of those jerk-offs, when they see that it's not popular to shit on her, when she's legitimately, you know, going through a lot of emotional, not everybody is, you know, got, you know, thick skin. You know, not everybody can handle what people dish out. And once these people see that it's not popular right now to do it, you know what'll happen? You'll get oh, we got to be better, we got to get along, and this and that. And once those couple of dozen likes start to wear off, it's, okay, who do we make fun of next? Who do we put down next? Who do we assume has the thickest skin in the world? And, oh, you know, they make millions, it's okay, and it's okay, until somebody blows their brains out. I'm an asshole many times. I am an instigator. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, you know, you really got to know where to draw the line. And yes, it's a cult, Michael. It's a sickness. It's a sickness. There are so many people on social media that their lives suck so bad that they get enjoyment by taking it out on someone else. Seriously, they get enjoyment out of it. You know, that's why people get angry when I've been saying this for years and years. I said it 8 years ago. Somebody, Robert William Curl, who is a friend of the show, wrote a book and actually took things that I have said over the years and brought up how social media has ruined a lot of people. I mean, it's like crack. It's like heroin. You know, let me bash a few people. Oh, they could take it. They're making millions. They don't pay attention to me. They don't know what's going on. They don't see my tweets. And then they get blocked. And it's like a badge of honor. It's a badge of honor. Just think about that. You disrespect someone repeatedly, and then you get blocked, and then you treat it like a badge of honor. You know, and then you act like it doesn't bother you, but every other week you'll tweet about the person blocking you. Some very disturbed people out there, man. So anyway, enough of my rant. Let's talk about the pay-per-view tonight. You know, I will tell you, you know, I originally, you know, was going to open up with a little pictorial montage to celebrate 30 years, you know, of this legend. I mean, I was trying to find like the perfect pictures to open up with today. You know, and unfortunately, I really could not come up with all that many. But, you know, obviously tonight, more than anything, you know, we got to celebrate the fact that this guy won the 24/7 championship. Now, I think we could rip the Gobbledy Gooker because it's not a real person. 30 years later, just think about that. 30 years later, on the anniversary of The Undertaker's career, the Gobbledy Gooker wins the 24/7 championship tonight, and he loses it because Tozawa teases him with birdseed. Now, to be honest with you, bird food, that's like Roadrunner Wildy Coyote shit. But Tozawa teases the Gobbledy Gooker with bird food. It would have been cool if R-Truth teased Tozawa with, no, we can't say that. No. Never mind. The Wildy Coyote chick. Super genius. Shout out to Anthony Diaz. He doesn't watch wrestling anymore. He watches me. What's wrong with you? Seriously, what's wrong with you? I'm only kidding, man. I do the opposite. I watch wrestling. I don't watch me. I mean, yeah, I look at the screen to make sure that everything is clear and, you know, the record. Oh, by the way, very, 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 very quickly. Just give me 30 seconds on this. Anybody on Patreon knows for the last 2 weeks, while I was in the middle of doing Breakfast Soup with Mish, there's been a little bit of connection issues. On Friday, I tried to play the clip of me doing the Aflac duck, and we had bad buffering issues. And I had said that we've been having problems with the weather, and apparently my speed has been slow and this and that. And I found out today that my Spectrum modem and my router are both fried. I don't know how it happened, but within the last week, both have fried. Right now, I am on Wi-Fi. And I have never, ever done a show strictly on a Wi-Fi connection. But for some reason, the Wi-Fi connection is about 10 times faster than regular Ethernet. So tonight, we are doing Wi-Fi. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to pick up a new router and a new modem. I will connect it. So tomorrow night, we should have no issues. And, so the only reason why I'm telling you now is if there is any buffering for any reason tonight, I can see when it happens. I will stop, I will shut my mouth, and I will wait until the connection is over and then reload. But I don't think we're going to have any issues tonight. I have everything off inside, so this connection is just for us, and that's it. Anthony Diaz also, he didn't see the paper. You know what? Overall, I thought the pay-per-view was good. The matches, let's be honest, other than the 24/7 stuff, I don't think any matches sucked tonight. I really cannot complain about any matches at all. But like I said, when we look back on this Survivor Series, you might remember Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre a little bit. And my God, did Michael Cole steal some of Braun Strowman's B shots, vitamin B shots? This guy had more energy tonight than I can't remember. I mean, just go back and listen to that match. I mean, watch it, of course, but just listen to Michael Cole. Oh, my God. If you could take his commentary and translate it to sex, I mean, you got pretty much the last 6-7 minutes of the match, pretty much, I'm coming, here it comes, I'm coming. I mean, this guy was just like, I can't... It'd be disrespectful if I tried to imitate him. This guy had so much energy tonight. I was like, my God, come, pull it back a notch. I mean, he was just overtaking the other commentators. But but looking back on the matches, I thought the matches tonight were pretty good. I mean, nothing really stood out, other than probably Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre the last 6-7 minutes. We had Jey Uso interfering. I think we all pretty much figured that. There was a lot of people wondering if Miz would possibly try to cash in. We've heard, little reports that they want Miz to hold on to that briefcase into 2021. And tonight, they did announce that the TLC pay-per-view, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, will take place at, I think, Tropicana Field, I believe it is, December 20th. So that will be your next pay-per-view. That is the last pay-per-view of 2020. As of now, they are not planning on letting anybody sit in the crowds. I'll be honest with you, I think you set up Thunderdome for now, and I personally think you either allow a decent number of fans. Now, I'm not saying fill it up a third of the way or halfway, but you fill up a decent amount on one side of the camera or you don't do it at all. I used to really watch baseball more in my younger years, but I go back to like 1977, watching, I don't know if it was the Giants but there were some baseball teams that would draw like 2,000 fans, 3,000 fans in a 40,000 seat stadium. And it looked so terrible on TV. And personally, WWE is more about the visual than anything else. WWE does not want to, even back in the day with championship wrestling and, all-star wrestling that we grew up on, even though those buildings had only a few hundred people in it, it looked jam-packed. ECW Arena. ECW Arena, for the most part, had less than 2,000 fans, thank God, because that place would be 300 degrees and all you would smell is virgin armpits. Oh my God, virgin armpits. Ew. So look, the matches tonight specifically, I don't think much of it will be memorable, but we'll talk about it. Hey, we did 22 minutes. Sam says the Florida Panthers. Is it the Florida Panthers? Well, look, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Florida Marlins. I know the Florida Marlins especially, there were some years where they had very, very few fans. So, let's talk about the show. Pre-show tonight, as I already revealed to you all, the Gobbledy Gooker won the 24/7 championship. R-Truth came out during the pre-show, and he said that he had a video montage to pay tribute to a phenom, 30 years today debuted, blah, 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 blah. And you know where it's going with R-Truth. It's not going to be, straight up Undertaker, Gobbledy Gooker. So they show a video package with Gobbledy Gooker. Next thing you know, Gobbledy Gooker shows up and actually pins R-Truth and then runs away. And I think he lost his foot in the process. Goofy. It's goofy, but you expect that nowadays. Now, at the end of the night, R-Truth is the champion once again. Yeah, I know it's Gobbledy Gooker. I say Gobbledy. No, that's how I say it. I think it's Gobbledy. Isn't it like Gobbledy? Like there's a letter D in it somewhere. I just say Gobbledy Gooker. It's smoother off the tongue. I'll tell you the truth. Whoever came up with it back then, why did they even put the letter D? Why make it so hard? Gobbledy Gooker. Gobbledy Gooker. Just simple. Hey, Gobbledy Gooker. Say that 10 times fast. Gobbledy Gooker. Gobbledy Gooker. Gobbledy Gooker. I don't know. Gobbledy Gooker. Bob Uecker. I must be in the front row. Now we have the dual brand battle royal. Now, let me know if I'm making any omissions here, but the names that were in this dual brand battle royal is Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio, Kalisto, Shelton Benjamin, Angel Garza, Dolph Ziggler, Humberto Carrillo, Ricochet, Apollo Crews, Robert Roode, Murphy, Shinsuke Nakamura, Elias, The Miz, and Chad Gable. I don't think I left anybody out. Typical battle royal. No real surprises here. You had, a couple of teasers with matchups. We got like a little bit of Angel Garza and Carrillo again, and you had some others. I tell you, this battle royal, I really enjoyed Dominic Mysterio's work. You look at Rookie of the Year, and now look, there's some pretty tough competition if you want to put in AEW and some other companies out there. I think this year you really got to focus mostly on AEW and WWE because there's a lot of promotions out there that were on hiatus for a very long time. But I will tell you that so far, I personally think Dominic Mysterio is your Rookie of the Year for 2020. I mean, he's had some phenomenal matches with Seth Rollins and Murphy, and he's, done decent in the ring, teaming up with his dad. But what I loved about this Battle Royal tonight, and you could go back and watch it, is he didn't get lost in the ring. Like if you notice sometimes, especially with Royal Rumbles, when you have a lot of people in the ring, you'll see people battling it out, but there'll always be one Matarazzi that'll be in the ring and he looks lost. Like, who am I supposed to hit? Who should I hit? And they just like look around, or it's the best. You go back to I think the 1990, was it 91 when Ric Flair won the belt? You go back and you watch. I don't remember if it was Ted DiBiase, but there was one person who got lost in the ring. And by the way, Ted DiBiase wasn't there tonight. Neither was Hogan. Neither was Austin. Neither was Brother Love. Any other names? Sting? Any other names out there kind of surprise you that were not a show tonight? Was it pretty much just like who works for WWE and happens to live in Florida? The Rock wasn't there. I mean, come on, man. Look, I know all of you love Dwayne Johnson. I love him too, and I think one day he may very well end up in politics. He's not a bad person. But seriously, everybody, you mean to tell me you can't do like a live, not necessarily a Zoom, but you mean to tell me with some of these people, you don't put things on the screen, an extra 5 minutes? Sorry, I can't be there, brother. You know, I mean, there was some names, Randy Orton, that, look, current stars, it's a little slippery slope. Because then you feel if you bring this person, then you got to bring this person. Then you got to bring Batista. Then you got to bring this person. I mean, look, Batista. You know, when they talk about legendary feuds with Undertaker, they bring up HBK, they bring up Triple H, they bring up Mick Foley, they'll bring up Kane. And I say to myself, how come they never, some people do, but how come a lot of people never bring up his feud with Batista? No, well, Brock, Brock, it's, if he ever comes back in WWE, it's going to be as a surprise, unexpected, and he's going to attack somebody. I don't think you have him enter the ring and just smile for everybody. So I kind of didn't think Brock. By the way, does anybody, and again, this is me just thinking outside the box, but Keith Lee got new music tonight. I like it. I'm trying to find out the name of the group. By tomorrow, we should know. I have a couple of inquiries in, but I like Keith Lee's new music. Now, I got to ask you all a question. Do you think, and again, it's just me thinking outside the box, if you go back and you listen to Keith Lee's first Raw theme, it reminded me a lot of Brock Lesnar. If you remember Brock Lesnar's theme, dun, 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 like that, if you listen to Keith Lee's theme, it sounds a lot like Brock Lesnar. And I always felt that when they didn't work out the deal with Brock Lesnar and they went with this theme for Keith Lee, there was a lot of similarities to Brock's. I'm wondering, do you think there's any possibility that WWE is working on a return for Brock Lesnar? And so the music is not similar in any way that they decided to change music. I know some people out there think, the social media ripped Keith Lee's music enough. They changed it. No, there's a lot of themes over the years that we have all ripped apart. Oh, look at this god-awful music. And they didn't change it. So I don't know. Just something I was just thinking about, no reason you can't just fantasize or ponder what could possibly be. But we had this Battle Royal, like I said, a lot of fun. By the way, before I go any further, I want to give a shout out. Thank you very much, Neil Ray, for the super chat. He is going to miss Undertaker, loves him, feels bad for Lana. I'm telling you, man, you watch that video. I know she's an actress. You can't act that. I'm sorry. I just feel that, and I've said it so many times before, I know that there's a lot of people out there, there's an old phrase, money doesn't always buy happiness. And I'm not saying that, it didn't buy this person happiness, but the point is that I think a lot of people like to use the excuse that somebody is famous or like that somebody has money or is making big money. And that gives them the right to really heinously rip on some people. Look, you commit a crime, you abuse someone, you got caught, for whatever you want to put in that category, rip them. They definitely deserve it. Hand them a new asshole. But someone, who may not wrestle to your liking, I just find it really, really terrible. And what's sad about it is that you, me, we're not changing anybody out there. It's an addiction. It's an addiction. I always told that story, that crazy story. And I admit my mistakes in the past. I tried cocaine 3 times in my life. Last time I did it was about 20 some odd years ago. But I'll never forget that my ex-girlfriend, we were in a hotel. I know a lot of you know the story already. I'm not going to say everything, but the bottom line was after 24 hours of hanging out and having fun, she just wanted it to continue. And I said, no, I can't afford it, this and that. And there was a little bit left. And she got me so angry that I went like this and threw it on the floor. And we were in this gringy, disgusting Hempstead Motor Inn, Hempstead, New York. And when I threw it on the floor like a dog, she went on the floor and started sniffing the rug. This is a hotel you rent for 4 hours to get laid. This is a hotel where you want to hang out and drink beer with your friends because you can't do it in your house because you're underage. This is like a disgusting and she's sniffing the rug like a dog. Because when you are addicted and you are fiending, there ain't nothing that anybody's going to say or do that is going to change your mind. Nothing that you and I say or do is going to stop most of the people out there. But, you know, we can change the climate by just being a little bit more positive. Rip the people that, you know, for legitimate, you know, disgusting behavior. Not because she dances and you don't like it, you know, don't watch it. You can watch me on TikTok. I opened a TikTok and I did the Affleck Doug on TikTok. Don Tony D. If you want to go check it out. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how active I will be there. But, you know, I'll probably post like goofy stuff over there. And we'll have some fun. I don't care. People don't like it. Who cares? Neil Ray is going through depression and anxiety. And he understands it to an extent. And he prays that she gets better. You know, look at, I always bring up Mauro Ranallo. That guy is one of the most beloved announcers. Wrestling, boxing, MMA, it doesn't matter. Everybody, for the most part, beloves Mauro Ranallo. And yet he still goes through it and has a lot of issues with mental health. You know, you can't assume that because someone is a strong, you know, powerhouse, superhero-like person on camera, that that's how they feel in real life. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes doing the extraordinary on camera is like their balance because they're less than extraordinary in real life. You know, it's a shame. It's really sad. But, you know, Neil, you know, my prayers are with you, my brother. And I know everyone else in here as well. So, you know, absolutely, absolutely. Anthony Diaz, yeah, you could email me a video doing the Affleck Duck. Absolutely. Anyone that ever wants to email me, it's dontony@dontony.com. It can't be any easier than that. dontony@dontony.com. You can all email me. Don't be bashful. You know, I could take it. You know, you could email me just to say hello. You could email me to say this. You could email me anything. Seriously. It's all good. It's all good. We're family. Everyone here, we family. Absolutely. So we have the Battle Royal. And, you know, it comes down to the Final Four, which is Jeff Hardy, The Miz, Dominic Mysterio, and Chad Gable. You know what? Chad Gable actually put on a pretty decent performance as well. Chad Gable, you know, oh, Gable is back. Haven't really done much. You know, now with Survivor Series over, now you're going to see a little bit more of Chad Gable on TV. Now you'll see a little bit more of Lars on TV. Now you'll see some additional, but I enjoyed Chad Gable and Dominic Mysterio tonight in that match. The ending showed a little bit of, I don't want to say stupidity, rookie mistake. It came down to The Miz and Dominic Mysterio. And what happened was Dominic actually got Miz over the top rope. And The Miz was holding on for dear life. And Dominic keeps kicking him, trying to knock him out of the ring. And Dominic runs to the other side of the rope, get a little momentum. And as he's doing that, Miz rolls in the ring slightly, just past the bottom ring rope. So technically he rolled himself back in the ring. Dominic immediately kicks him out. And, you know, they played off that he got eliminated. But then, I don't remember which commentator it was, said that, whoa, you know, the officials did not single. And then you realize that Miz actually rolled back in. So Dominic, Dominic thinks that he won the match. I want to go a little bit back. There was one moment, I don't know if anybody felt this way with me, but I thought it was a little scary. Even though it didn't look like there was any riskiness whatsoever, To me, I got a little nervous. Did you see the 3 suplexes that, and we should also go back that, Chad Gable was still in the match as well. Dominic got hit with 3 suplexes from Chad Gable, 2 angle slams, and then it was like a belly to back. I don't know if it was the belly to back, but after the 2 angle slams, he does the 3rd one. He throws Dominic over his back, and Dominic did a 180 and landed like I think on his stomach, like totally flipped over. And it looked scary for a sec because Dominic is a little bit taller than you think. And I don't know, if you go back and you watch it, like for a little bit, I was like, whoa, that was lucky, because I don't think he really was supposed to flip all the way onto his stomach. I think it should have been pretty much like a, belly to back or just, this is one thing I don't like about wrestling the last couple of years. I think you'll all agree with me on this. You pay homage to people from yesteryear. You have some wrestlers, they'll do the 3 amigos, they'll do the 3 suplexes from Eddie, and, some of them will do the shimmy, the frog splash off the top rope. But you get people that try to tweak it. And I understand. Chad Gable paying homage to Kurt Angle, remember Team Angle, I get it. But instead of just doing the 3 suplexes, you got to like improvise and do this instead. And this is said, he did the first angle slam, if you go back and look, and he like struggled to smoothly get to his feet, because that type of slam, it's not meant for you to just pop right back up. And after he did the first one, it was a little, Dominic, I think, is like 6'1", 6'2". That's a little bit taller than you think. But so anyway, what ends up happening is Dominic is down, him and Chad Gable. Dominic thinks he eliminated The Miz. We don't see anything about The Miz for about a minute or two. And Dominic eliminates Chad Gable, but the music doesn't hit. The commentator doesn't announce him as the winner, and Dominic is celebrating in the ring, and he realizes, I think for a split second, that why isn't my music hitting? And next thing you know, Miz enters the ring again, throws Dominic over the top rope. Miz is your winner. Tip. Pretty standard battle royal. I don't think there was much to it, and you know what? It would be wise if I actually put up the graphics, right? Yeah. Oh, so you know what? I'm such an idiot, man. I'm so stupid. I wrote all the names during the battle royal. I'm like, okay, who'd I leave out? Hardy? Oh, who'd I leave out? Ziggler? Oh, who'd I leave out? Rude? I could have just looked at the graphic that I had. My God, I'm so stupid sometimes. Oh, man, that was pretty stupid. But again, this battle royal to me showed Dominic has the wherewithal he has in-ring presence. He knows where he is. He doesn't look like a lost soul out there. I'll never forget that Elimination Chamber match with Vladimir Kozlov, I think it was. You all remember that? I've talked about it many times over the years. He was feuding with, I think, Triple H at that time. He got eliminated, and he walked past Triple H. Like, instead of, like, walking out through the opposite side of the ring, he, like, walked past Triple H, and this is his arch. Now, it just looks so bad on television. It looks so bad. But Larry says, I'm not stupid. Yeah, look, we're all make mistakes sometimes. Hell, I thought Retribution attacking Undertaker was an awesome idea. I mean, I was, and that's another thing. I'm trying my hardest to praise Retribution. I thought Retribution last week had its best showing yet as a group. I'm trying so hard because Dijakovic is talented. Dio Madden has potential. Mia Yim we already know how great she is. And you go down the list. But how is it that Retribution doesn't do anything tonight? Didn't have to be with The Undertaker. Now, you know what's going to happen Monday on Raw? We'll probably have Mia Yim attack Asuka now. I understand WWE's mentality. They want to have a clear-cut finish in the ring. And Asuka and Sasha Banks had a great match tonight. But would Carmella lose her plane ticket? Carmella shows up every week to lay out Sasha Banks, but she decides not to show up tonight. It's not her fault, obviously. But if WWE is going to push this right before Survivor Series, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of Carmella and Sasha Banks, and then the pay-per-view, she doesn't show, that's shoddy. That's just doesn't make sense. And Retribution, they're going to take out on WWE. They all this Retribution, Survivor Series, they do nothing. Nothing. I mean, at least the last pay-per-view, didn't we get like Slapjack versus Lashley? Nothing. What did they do? They all lost their plane tickets? That was terrible. That was terrible. I know some of you out there don't want them on your TV. I respect that. But they are on your TV. And you want to enjoy what they're doing. WWE is making it awfully difficult for any of us to enjoy not even in the Battle Royal. So when they weren't in the Battle Royal, I said, okay, all right, so maybe they will do something later on. It makes sense. They're causing chaos. I work every day but pay-per-views. Very stupid, in my opinion. So we now go to the main pay-per-view, and the opening match was the men's Survivor Series match, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. If you remember my predictions Friday, I said that the whole storyline about Team Raw is that nobody could get along. And I said that what will end up happening in Survivor Series is they'll all get along and they're going to dominate. Did I think Team Raw was going to run the table? No, I didn't think they were going to run the table at all. But that's what ended up happening. Team Raw runs the table. Nobody gets eliminated. Early on, Seth Rollins, I don't know what this leads to. It didn't really make much sense. I'm sure WWE will try to make it make sense on Friday, but what ends up happening is Matt Riddle tags in Sheamus and Baron Corbin. They were going to go at it, and Seth Rollins, it was Sheamus and Kevin Owens. Those two were going at it, and Kevin Owens tagged in Rollins. Rollins wanted to be tagged in. He's telling Kevin Owens, tag me in, tag me in, tag me in. So Seth Rollins gets tagged in, and he looks at his team, and he says, for the greater good. And he fell to his knees. He allowed Sheamus to give him the bro kick, and Seth Rollins loses. I don't know, man. I mean, there's so many better creative ways to take that. Why not just have Murphy come out and just go at it with Seth Rollins and let Seth Rollins get counted out? I tell you, I don't know what they're going to use Seth Rollins as an excuse on Friday, but I tell you, I don't know, man. The only thing I could come up with is that Seth Rollins has been losing. Remember on Friday, it's been a rough few weeks for Seth Rollins. And maybe Seth Rollins is going to say that I am not the person that I thought I was. And for the greater good, I sacrificed myself so I am not, the weak link of the team. Which, okay, that kind of makes sense. But if you're going to allow yourself to get pinned, why not try to beat the shit out of the other opponents? I didn't like it at all. Then, okay, I have a little request before I go any further. Let me just pull this up. I don't know what he just said, but something with New York and an Italian accent. Let's see. Seto Kaiba. Can I say I'm Italian, Queens, New York? Now, do you want me to just say it like I normally do? Hey, I'm Italian, Queens, New York. Or do you want me to say like, hey, I'm Italian, Queens, New York? You know what I'm saying? Italian, Queens, New York. Apparently, Kaiba's famous. A lot of people in the chat showing him a shout out. Hey, anytime we could get off the topic of this dumb Seth Rollins stuff, it's not his fault. I know they're writing him off TV very soon. Monday, tomorrow, Mish and I will talk about the Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins photos. Very cute. Actually, I'm very happy for both of them. She's about to give birth. And we got a lot of things to talk about on Monday. We're going to have a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Kaiba. Oh, he's anime character. Yeah, I don't follow that stuff, so I'm not going to lie. I don't follow that stuff. But so Rollins gets himself eliminated. Kevin Owens calls him a piece of trash. They're outside the ring trying to regain their composure. And next thing you know, Braun does one of these, huge dives onto Team SmackDown. And then the dominance begins. Sheamus obviously eliminated Seth Rollins. You had AJ Styles eliminate Kevin Owens. Matt Riddle eliminated Baron Corbin. Braun Strowman eliminated Otis. And early on, we had a little bit of feats of strength between the two. They both run the ropes. They collide. I'm not going to lie to you, man. It looked rather uneventful in the middle of the ring. Like if you remember, what was it, Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, when they ran the ropes, remember Jesse Ventura? Nobody moves. If that would have been Jesse Ventura in commentary tonight and they did those first two, I think Jesse would have been like, oh, nobody moved. It was just like, I don't know. I honestly, look, we love Otis, but it just felt like Otis didn't give his all. But then Braun Strowman hits him with a high kick. Yes, Otis slammed Strowman as well. It was impressive for a little while. But Braun Strowman hits the power slam for a 1-2-3. So now it comes down to Jey Uso versus every member of Team Raw. And what ends up happening is Keith Lee gets a tag from AJ Styles. Jey Uso doesn't see the tag. So Jey Uso is still going at it with AJ Styles. AJ Styles tried to jump off the rope and do the phenomenal forearm. And Jey Uso looked like he kicked the rope. It was kind of sloppy, but still, he thought that AJ Styles was still a legal man. He goes for the splash, but instead, he gets caught by Keith Lee. He just dives. Keith Lee catches him and hits the Spirit Bomb. 1-2-3, match over. You had Team Raw, clean sweep, defeat Team SmackDown. Now, yes, Friday, we all said that Team Raw, the men's side, would dominate SmackDown. I did not think it was going to be this much of a domination. Later on in the night, and I tell you, this brought back memories for me, Jey Uso disappoints. He loses. Later on in the night, they have a camera in the back. Jey Uso's talking to Jimmy Uso. And the door opens. Paul Heyman walks out the door, and he looks concerned. And I'm telling you, man, I had flashbacks. It's a little hot in here, if you've noticed. I don't want to put an air conditioner on, but it was like almost 60 degrees here in New York, and I got 6 lights on right now, so we can have like a nice, bright show. So it's a little hot. But I had flashbacks when I was a kid. One growing up Don Tony story I've told in the past. One of the things that I dreaded in my early years was parent-teacher night. And I was pretty good in school at grades, but I always misbehaved. I got kicked out of public school in grammar school. Everybody knows I went to Catholic school. But the only reason why I went to Catholic school in junior high and high school is because I got kicked out of grammar school when I was very young. And, I ruined their heating system, melting crayons and stuff. I totally screwed up I got kicked out of the school. But parent-teacher night, like I always cringed because I knew that I wasn't the most behaved person in school. And I tell you, when Paul Heyman opened that door, it reminded me of when my parents came home from parent-teacher night, and my mom would open the door and she'd give me that look like, you better go into your bedroom and lock the door. And my father entered. And if you remember that scene in Goodfellas where he's like, I talk to your teachers in school. You haven't been there in months. And he starts whipping his son. My father used to do that to me. I admit it. I've told it before. My father was old school, and his father did it to him, and grandfather did it to it. And my father would come home. I would have A's and B's, but then when it came to, the behavior, D, F. Anthony is one of the brightest kids of the school, but he can't keep his mouth shut. I swear on my mother, that was one of my early report cards in like second or third grade. And my father would whip me with the strap, or the one time where he took a wooden hanger and cracked me over the hand with it. Tell you the biggest mistake I ever did, and my father, I love him to death, because once I turned 16, even though I did a lot of messed up stuff until I was 18, 19, but once I turned 16, my father mellowed out, and never anything physical ever again. He threw me out of the house a couple of times, but the belt never came up. But, one time, I think I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I decided I was going to be a tough guy. And my father hit me with the belt, and I just no-sold it. Now, obviously, at that time, we didn't know wrestling references, so I didn't know what no-sold was, but I no-sold it. And my father's a triple degree black belt. He was on ABC TV in 1977 for some karate competition. I got to put the video up for all of you one day. But when I no-sold it, and I was like, is that the best you could do? That's it. Hi-ya! Psh, psh, psh. Looked like one of those 70s Japanese, Chinese films. Got my ass kicked. Even Friday, I said it on Friday. When they did the contract signing and Roman Reigns made Adam Pearce stand up, he doesn't sit down at the table until Roman Reigns sits first. That was my family back in the day. Nobody sat at the dinner table until my father sat first. My father's awesome, though. I'm telling you, he's amazing. Seriously, he's so cool. It's just, I think he realized once we became teenagers that, it wasn't the right thing for him to do. But that's what it reminded me of when Paul Heyman, it looked like, Jay, Daddy's going to enter the door. We go to your room, and Roman Reigns enters. And I wrote it down. It was so good. Roman Reigns, he said, you lost. Jimmy Uso's telling Roman Reigns, cut him a break. It was 5-on-1. And Roman Reigns says, you lost because your team doesn't fear you. They don't respect you. And if they don't respect you, they don't respect me and the family. And if you can't have them respect you, then you don't have a place at the table. Get out of my arena. I don't have time for losers tonight. Great promo. You know where that leads later. Jey Uso's going to try to make up for it in the main event. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, Jey Uso tried. But, look, Roman Reigns is having a great... You know what I like about the Roman Reigns character that nobody's bringing up? Nobody's bringing up. If you notice, the one thing that they are doing with the Roman Reigns character is they're trying their hardest not to bring up the fans. If you notice, Roman Reigns usually doesn't berate the fans. Look, they're piping in the boos, obviously, and they want the fans to boo Roman Reigns. But they do so much good outside of the Raw and Smack, what you see on television. They really try to avoid at all costs Roman Reigns bashing the fans. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened or won't happen, but they're trying to ignore it. It's almost as if Roman Reigns has such tunnel vision that it's as if no fans are around. So, I know, Benjamin, not every heel needs to berate the fans, but if you notice, it's almost like Roman Reigns is ignoring the fans. So, but I'm not complaining about it. It's something that I'm starting to notice more and more. But, the men's Survivor Series match, it was fine. It was fine. Entertained. I don't think SmackDown needed to win it. I personally thought, especially for like maybe Bianca Belair, I thought that the SmackDown women could really use the win. That was the only prediction I believe I got wrong. And I'll be honest with you, I'm fine with it, as we said before. But we'll get to that match in a couple of moments. First, let's talk about the Street Profits and the New Day. As we said Friday, the New Day gains nothing by defeating the Street Profits. The Street Profits, because they're still very, very new on the main roster. I mean, they're not around all that long, and we've been in COVID, so they really haven't been able to do anywhere near what WWE wants them to do. So New Day losing the Street Profits would be a nice little rub for the Street Profits. Now, it was very cool. It was very cool to see Big E do the intro for them. I'm not saying I told you so, because I know a lot of you out there have said it also. They weren't going to ignore Big E and the New Day if they're on pay-per-views together. It's not like, okay, we can't share the time. To see Big E come out with them and then leave, I thought it was a nice touch. I think it was just a nice way, and you'll see that again, but it was a really nice way. Oh, yes, no, Chad, I will definitely give that female her due also tonight when we get to it. I'll get to that in a couple of moments. But New Day and Xavier Woods had a really fun match. There was one point where Montez Ford hit the Trouble in Paradise himself. Xavier Woods late in the match with a gutbuster for the near fall. They worked very well in the ring together. And I'll be honest with you, I'd like to see them have another match, but I don't know, if that's going to happen anytime soon, because they are both champions, and you can't be doing, the champion versus champion thing. I mean, I know we got Cesaro and Nakamura that just for some reason showed up on Raw one night, just to lose, giving a little rub to the Street Profits as well. But this was a fun match, and it was very even. That's what I liked about it also. It could have gone either way, but in the end, the right team won. And it was not a bad match. I'd look, like I said, Street Profits, I know they're more, I think they need a little bit more substance. They're great on the mic, very entertaining, smoke and everything else. But to be able to go toe-to-toe, especially, and I'll continue saying it, we talked about it last Monday. I brought it up again on Friday because the New Day ended up having a match, which we didn't expect. But Xavier Woods has come back from injury, and I honestly feel that Xavier Woods is wrestling the best he has done in his career. That guy, has just worked his ass off to bring his element to the next level. Xavier Woods is crushing it right now. And I always, and I've said in the past, I never said he wasn't talented, but I always felt of the three wrestlers of New Day, if you want someone to eat the pin, I always felt Xavier Woods would be the one to eat the pin. And that's not trying to disrespect him, but he has really, really turned it up. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So really good match, and again, the right team won. Next, we had Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. I don't even need to see notes for this. The match pretty much was this. It was, I don't even want to call it comedy because it wasn't all that funny. But basically what this match was Sami Zayn trying to get, all members of the Hurt Business were around ringside. When Sami Zayn tried to run away, there were members of the Hurt Business there, not to touch him, but basically to be the invisible wall. Then Sami Zayn would try to get a member of the Hurt Business to hit him, so Bobby Lashley would be disqualified. They want nothing of it. Sami Zayn at one point in the match tried to remove one of the turnbuckles. Shelton Benjamin, almost like a parent. What are you doing, son? And Sami Zayn he was forced to stop. So every time Sami Zayn tried to, do something with the Hurt Business, it would backfire. And at the very end, Sami Zayn got a little bit of the upper hand. In fact, there was a really awesome move. Sami Zayn went for the Helluva kick. I always say Helluva. Helluva kick. And Bobby Lashley turned it into a choke slam. And the elevation was awesome. I mean, it just looked great. To be honest with you, putting the 24/7 stuff aside, this match may have been the weakest match of the night. Not trying to be disrespectful, but in the end, Sami Zayn goes out of the ring area, and they play it off like MVP tripped him a little bit, but it really wasn't much of anything. And then Sami Zayn's trying to get the referee's attention, like, you know, disqualify him, disqualify him. The referee is tending to Bobby Lashley, so his back is facing Sami Zayn. MVP takes Sami Zayn and throws him back in the ring, and Bobby Lashley hits the hurt lock for the win. And after the match is over, Sami Zayn is frustrated. You know where this is leading. On Friday, Daniel Bryan will probably laugh at Sami Zayn. You'll have a pull apart, and then there's the feud, Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. That is the feud that we thought was gonna start a couple of weeks ago, but didn't. Now with Survivor Series over, that'll probably be your next feud. I'm just looking at some of the notes. Yeah, the match was kind of weak. I mean, it told, you know, a little story. I mean, but, you know, it was what it was. But Sami Zayn, you know, tapping out to the hurt lock, you know, Bobby Lashley keeping strong. So, you know, okay match. When, you know, I won't remember it probably 2 weeks from now. So next we have Asuka and Sasha Banks. Match surprised me. Not because these two can go at it. We've seen Sasha Banks and Asuka go at it a lot. Somebody said tonight on the pay-per-view, one of the commentators said that this is the first time that Sasha Banks has ever pinned Asuka. I find that hard to believe. I'm not disputing it. But I was like, holy shit. I never thought of that before. Now, my pick was for Sasha Banks to win this match, but I honestly thought that we were going to possibly get Mia Yim get involved in this match. You know, it made sense. And if you remember on Friday, Carmella attacked Sasha Banks and Asuka just stood there and watched it. I thought the opposite was going to happen. I thought that Mia Yim, Reckoning, would attack Asuka. Somehow she would do it, or maybe when the match was over, she attacks Asuka and Sasha Banks just stands there and looks at it. Maybe they don't want Sasha Banks to appear cold. You know, there's a difference between being conceited and cocky and cold. So maybe they just didn't want that situation to arise. Did I get some Undertaker wine, C-Med? What do you mean, Undertaker wine? Do they have Undertaker wine? No, wait, I think they do have Undertaker wine. Didn't they come out? Didn't we talk about that once? I think we talked about that once. They had Undertaker wine. Now they got WWE credit cards with Credit One. I remember something. I think it was Undertaker wine. Wasn't it like a 2-bottle thing? You know, Jericho's going to have the little bit of the bubbly, and they had to come out with wine. I think, yeah, I remember the Undertaker wine. But it was expensive. Wasn't it like $100 or $125? I'm just curious. In chat, let me know. Because I remember they came out. I remember showing pictures of it. I think it was Ultimate Warrior wine. Yes, I remember the Ultimate Warrior wine as well. It was expensive. Honestly, I don't drink much being on keto, but I can have a little bit of red wine. I ain't spending money on something like that. No. $100 for two. $100 for two, if it tastes okay, it's not that bad. But, you know, there's some good $10 bottles of wine that you could get that are absolutely phenomenal. And to be honest with you, you know what you could do? Seriously, there's somebody on Reddit right now, I'm sure, has a template up for the label for the wine. And all you do is you go to the store and buy a cheap bottle of wine. You go and get those Avery stickers and you get the wine label template and you just print up the Undertaker or Warrior template. And if you want to be a real asshole, drink the bottle, because you can't put the actual liquor on eBay. Drink the bottle. You know, it's your favorite wine. Put the fake label of it and put it on eBay. You know, got this as a gift. You know, no refunds. As is, I did not purchase this from WWE. I don't condone that, but hey, you got to do what you got to do in the middle of COVID right now, right? $50 for a bottle of wine is kind of steep, to be honest with you. I mean, it better be some kick-ass wine. But honestly, you know what you're better off doing? I'm not joking here. You're better off going on eBay, and somebody is going to sell the empty bottle. They'll probably sell the empty bottle for like $10. And seriously, you know what you do? You clean the bottle out. Be very careful so the label doesn't get wet. And you let it air dry. And then what you do is you go on Amazon. It costs like $5. You get burgundy sand. And you fill up the bottle with burgundy sand. And you put it on your table. You put it on your dresser. And it looks like a full bottle of wine. But it's just the sand. It's colored sand. And you close it. And you got a nice little memento. I'm serious. I would do that. I would do that. Arby's is not located in my area, Mystery Man. But if Arby's was and they sold roast beef, I'd have it. Absolutely, man. So this match with Asuka and Sasha Banks, they worked their asses off. I mean, there was a lot of near falls. The first half of the match was a little bit maybe more like what you would see on regular TV. But towards the end, they started trading kicks, trading punches. There was one point where you had Sasha, Asuka awkwardly put Sasha sitting on top of the barricade outside the ring. And Sasha knocks Asuka away, and Sasha tries to hit the Meteora on Asuka, and Asuka reverses it and hits like 2 knees into Sasha, and that looked pretty tough, she nailed it, and it looked great on TV. There was a couple of kicks that Asuka hit Sasha with. There was one knee to the face that Sasha looks like she was knocked for a loop for a little bit. A lot of near falls, lots of reversals, lots of kicks, but in the very end, Sasha Banks hits a cradle, rolls up Asuka, and pins her that way. I don't think anybody expected that, but if you remember when we talked predictions on Friday, that is a finish that WWE likes to do. In fact, AEW likes to do it as well, that you'll have these abrupt pins. Drew McIntyre did it to Randy Orton, I think, on their first pay-per-view, when Drew McIntyre defended the title the first time around. He got like an unexpected roll-up on Randy Orton. They like to do these abrupt roll-ups, like just missed it, didn't kick out in time. And yes, I agree with you, VJ. I mentioned this, I think it was either last Wednesday or the Wednesday before. I've been a wrestling fan since 1979. I was even too young for the King, if you know what I'm talking about. And I'll say this, in all of my years being a wrestling fan, as far as Japanese women go, and WCW actually had some decent Japanese wrestlers back in the day that nobody paid attention. It wasn't just, your typicals that you would see come in. And it'll all be managed by Sonny Ono, if you remember. But I'll say this, in all of my years watching wrestling, I could tell you that I don't remember any other time where you had this many Japanese and Chinese women just kicking ass and getting opportunity on the main roster, and even NXT, because NXT, I mean, honestly, like I say, Wednesday Night Wrestling does outdraw Monday Night Raw sometimes. A lot of goofs out there don't understand, no, you don't have 2 Nielsen boxes in the same household. People don't understand that. And somebody's like, oh, what if somebody's watching NXT and AEW and they're a Nielsen subscribed? Then no, you don't get 2 boxes to do. Because if that was the case, people could put on both TVs and you falsely inflate the numbers. You could put both TVs on for just think about it. Imagine if as people like to shit on AEW fans, they would all accuse AEW fans if they have more than 1 Nielsen box, like, oh, the only reason why AEW is beating NXT every week is because these people with 2 Nielsen boxes are both turning on both TVs to AEW every week. So 2 people are one person is getting counted as 2. Please get laid. Please. Stupid. So I don't remember another time in my lifetime that you had this many women from the Orient all dominating. You just look at, you look at NXT, Io Shirai, you look at Hikaru Shida, you look at Asuka, you could bring up Su Yung as well. It's funny because I brought up Su Yung, and I think somebody had said not too long, well, she was born in the United States. It doesn't matter where they were born. It's the nationality, the heritage. WWE, pro wrestling on the main roster has never done a great job with women from the Orient. Doesn't matter if you were born in Japan or born in Brooklyn. They just never would treat them. They didn't know how to handle them, especially if they didn't speak English. And yes, all beautiful women as well. There are a lot of women. There's women we're not even mentioning right now. They're nailing it. Love it. I love it. So, nice change of pace. But this match tonight, very competitive, very even once again. Like I said, it really wasn't a bad match tonight, but nothing that you're really going to remember. This match with Asuka and Sasha Banks, a month from now, it's not going to be like a highlight in a lot of people's minds, although it was a decent match. Next, and as I said before, no interference from Reckoning, no interference from Carmella, no post-match beatdown. I don't know. I just, like I said, I wouldn't have done these attacks the last 3 weeks. Maybe the only reason why they had to do that with Carmella is because they weren't planning on having Raw stars show up on SmackDown, which to me doesn't make sense, because how many times did Asuka wrestle on both brands? Bayley and Sasha Banks, when they were tag champs, would be on both brands. What's different now? So, next match, you had the women's Survivor Series match. And I'll be honest with you, this match, the best way I could describe it without even really looking at notes was it allowed Peyton Royce to shine. Peyton Royce obviously still has a lot of seasoning. Yes, she's been wrestling as one half of the Iconics for many, many years, but she was never focused on being a single star. And yes, tonight it was 5-on-5, but still, Peyton Royce, they are taking baby steps with Peyton Royce as a single star, as you have seen already. But when Peyton Royce gets the opportunity to stay in the ring for more than a minute or so, because in tag matches, you're always tagging out. You don't stay in the match for more than 30 to 60 seconds at a time. So tonight, she got the opportunity to work a little bit more. I got to mention this. Yeah, because since we're talking about Peyton Royce, let me just wait for a second for it to queue up. Shout out to Ken, terminated by DQ. When Peyton Royce had the tarantula move on, Corey Graves actually called it the perfect 10, which I got a kick out of. But, like WWE did always use that phrase. I know AEW uses it, or Sean Spears uses it as well, but, it is what it is. But Peyton Royce really shined in this match. There was a couple of points. Now, I'll say this. There was two weird finishes. And I don't know if Lacey Evans was injured. I don't know what the deal was with Ruby Riott. But there were two very strange finishes during this match. Now, early on, Lana, and we talked about it Friday, Lana was going to have that little bit of a confrontation with Natty and actually hold her own. Lana actually didn't do bad in the match. But what happened was Lana tagged herself in, and she actually did a pretty decent job. And when Lana went to tag herself out, nobody wanted to tag her, which to me was stupid, because everybody's telling her, we don't want you in the match. So when she goes to tag, if you tag then she's not in the match. But nobody wanted to tag her. Nia Jax ultimately did. And what they did was they continued the bullied storyline. They've taken some of reality and turned it into a storyline. Nia and Shayna Baszler are bullying Lana. People haven't figured that out. It's not just, will she go to a table this week? Will she go to a table this week? No, the storyline is Lana is being bullied by Shayna Baszler and Nia. And Lana's reactions, she is taking it from real life experience. So when you see her being upset in the way she's acting, she's probably thinking about how she is truly bullied. But in real life, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are nothing but nice to Lana. So basically, when Nia tags in with Lana, they tell Lana to not only get out of the ring, but they tell her to take a step down on the ring steps. So everybody is standing on the apron, and Lana is standing two steps down. So what we were all wondering, will Lana turn on Team Raw? We were all wondering if Lana would maybe get a pin. And there were some of you out there would be like, imagine if Lana is the sole survivor. So we go and we talk about some of the finishes tonight. Yeah, Peyton Royce, and you know, look, I know some people were criticizing the move on social media, but you got to understand something. When you're on the turnbuckle, it's really difficult to get any lift. But there was a point where everybody was outside the ring, except for Lana, who was on the step on the opposite side. But everybody was outside the ring except for Bayley and Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce and Bayley climbed to the middle of the top rope. And Peyton Royce hit Bayley with a suplex outside the ring on top of everybody. And if you go back and you look at it, it seemed like some people missed catching Bayley a little bit, but thank God she wasn't injured from it. But it was not Peyton Royce's fault. Peyton Royce, she executed the suplex very nicely. Peyton Royce with the deja vu on Bayley and gets the pin. I mean, Peyton Royce getting a little bit of a rub from Bayley. I don't think anybody expected it. I certainly didn't expect that. But what this match really was Peyton Royce shining. Liv Morgan, Spitfire, I think we could call it that. Ruby Riott, a little bit as well. And Lana, having a little bit of offense early, but for the rest of the match was ordered to take a step down, did not move, didn't turn, didn't do anything, just stood there. So we started to get some quicker finishes. Liv with the crucifix on Lacey Evans for the pin. You go back and you look at that. I don't know. Something looked like maybe Lacey Evans got injured a little bit. Anybody else think that? Because it just looked a little bit awkward, that exchange at the very end when Lacey Evans got pinned. That was a little bit awkward. I don't know if anybody saw that, but if you didn't, go back and you see what I'm talking about. Nia Jax with a Samoan drop on Liv for the win. So it came down to Nia, Shayna Baszler, Lana, and Bianca Belair. Now, let me also bring up this other one. This is another one that really, I was baffled. Do you see the Ruby Riott finish? What ends up happening is Nia Jax is going at it with both members of the Riott Squad. And Shayna Baszler ends up in the ring with Ruby Riott. Shayna Baszler hits the Kirifuda clutch on Ruby Riott. Referee does not see it. Ruby Riott ends up kind of having like a roll-up pin on Shayna Baszler, but then the referee turns around and it looks like she's passed out. So they're trying to play off like Ruby Riott landed a certain way, but she was already, I don't know, man. That finish was really, really odd. So Shayna Baszler just pins her. And Ruby Riott looks like she's on another planet. But, it came down to Bianca Belair versus Nia, Shayna, and Lana. And what ends up happening is Shayna Baszler hits the Kirifuda clutch on Bianca Belair, but grabs the rope. and this was something that we were fearing on Friday. We didn't say it for Shayna Baszler, but we were fearing it, that we were going to get one or two stupid disqualification finishes. And sure enough, it happened. Shayna Baszler won't break the Kirifuda clutch. Referee disqualifies her. So now we're down to Lana and Nia versus Bianca Belair. Well, Bianca and Nia are going at it pretty good. They end up outside the ring brawling, and they both get counted out. So as a result of them both getting counted out, you get Lana as your winner, sole survivor. And she's in the ring, legitimately choked up. I won. And, again, people, I think, online forget that this is sports entertainment. It's storyline driven. And you look at that 24 special that they just did on Lana. It's no coincidence. They just debuted that video right before Survivor Series. So for everybody out there that has been saying, oh, they're feeding Lana plates of shit because of Mirdo, what he's saying and this and that. Mish and I have been saying for about a month and a half now that we think Lana may be having the time of her life right now. She's on TV, she's in store, and she's this. And tonight on Survivor Series, she's the sole survivor. It's funny. Maven was recently on the bump. And they were talking about when Maven eliminated The Undertaker in the Royal Rumble. And everybody's having a good chuckle over it and this and that. And I saw some of those goofs online that I stay away from now. And they're all chuckling like, oh, Maven looks great. Oh, you remember the time he eliminated? And it laughy about that. And I'm saying to myself, tell me, what is the difference between Maven eliminating The Undertaker and Lana winning tonight as a sole survivor? It's someone that wasn't expected to do what they did. It's storyline driven. It just goes to show you, when someone likes someone, they could have the dumbest win, and they'll say, well, the win is all that matters. But I'm very happy. Yeah, Maven looks the same, man. He looks the same. Look, he started very, very young. So, he's still a pretty young guy, to be honest with you. So he looks great. He's been around. It's not like he's been hiding under a rock. If you want to see someone who hasn't been around in a while, I think Fightful just did an interview with Nydia. Go take a look and see how Nydia looks right now. She looks fine. But that is someone when you have not seen any recent photos of. And if you want to see what she looks like now, go check out Fightful. So, the Home Shopping Network, James, that stuff was a long time ago. I don't know if Maven is still doing that, but everybody remembers Maven from being on HSN. So Lana gets the win. And, I opened up talking about that. No reason for me to repeat it. Very happy that she got it. And, look, this is not the end of her career. But for now, especially after what we just saw on the WWE Network, with that little documentary, this was a nice, Band-Aid on everything, I think we should feel good that she has a reason to celebrate as far as her career in WWE goes. So anyway, next we have Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Main event time as far as matches go. And, this match, I think for some people, started out awfully slow. I personally had no problem with the match at all because, it was telling a really good story. Yes, in the end, we had interference, but it opened up feeling each other out, a little bit of trash talking. If you notice tonight, for the most part, WWE was not piping in a lot of crowd noise. They piped in "This is awesome" chants during this match, but the second half of this match, really, they turned it up. They were crashing into barricades. As Michael Cole said, that Drew McIntyre got crashed through a wall. It took 2 Samoan drops to get Drew McIntyre put through the announcer's table. And like I said, Michael Cole, and you know me, anybody that follows me over the years, I've been very easy on Michael Cole. the Jerry Lawler WrestleMania feud, I didn't like at all, except for the plexiglass moment when his face was crushed on it and Jerry was pulling his tie. But, Michael Cole, he's one that I actually could tolerate. But tonight, I don't know what he was on. I say vitamin B to be a little bit politically correct, because I take vitamin B shots, as I showed you not too long ago. And vitamin B will give you a nice jolt of energy for a little while. This guy must have taken 3 or 4 shots, because this guy made this feel like a WrestleMania main event match. I don't even think I'm exaggerating for that. No, Ben, I get what you're saying, that Michael Cole's passion is very manufactured. I agree. The fact that he was this uber energetic tonight, it just shows. Some people, the energy is consistent. Tonight was, look, if you want to look at it as a positive, Michael Cole made this feel like a WrestleMania main event match tonight. And these two guys delivered as well. There was one spot, I don't know if you all caught it, but right before Roman Reigns attempted a spear on Drew McIntyre, you heard Roman Reigns, he looked at Samoa Joe. I wrote it down, and he said something like, "You done seen this shit before, Joe." So, he was doing a little trash talking to Samoa Joe, which I got a kick out of. So Roman Reigns attempts a spear on Drew McIntyre, but Drew McIntyre reverses it into a Claymore. Referee is knocked out. So now you're like, okay, when is Jay and Jimmy going to come out? Because Jimmy really hasn't done anything active out there yet to help Roman. Jey Uso comes out, hits the super kick on Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns with a low blow, with a spear. Then he hits the guillotine on Drew McIntyre. Another referee hits the ring, and he counts out Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre could not continue. And Ken's asking Smoking Hydro if he saw what I was talking about. Yeah, look, like I said, the one thing WWE has substantially improved over the last 6 months is using the lack of live fans in attendance to their advantage with more of the trash talking, the audible trash talking. They used it probably at its peak with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso in the cell. That was intended, just really keep, just you hearing every little part of the verbiage going on. But I like a little bit of the incidental talk that, it's kind of like, it's combo that we're not, like we're supposed to feel like we weren't supposed to hear that, but we were supposed to hear it, but they want you to think you weren't supposed to hear it, if you know what I mean. But Jey Uso interferes. Drew McIntyre cannot answer. He loses to the guillotine. After the match is over, Jey Uso is up the rampway. Roman Reigns taunted Drew McIntyre, keep bringing up the title. During the match also, Roman Reigns kept calling him number 2. I kept thinking of Austin Powers. Number 2. He kept calling him number 2. Hey, it is what it is, man. The thing that annoys me about some people online is when you, in your storyline, no matter who it is, best in the world, whatever it is, if you believe that you are the best, you are the number one person, then obviously everyone else is one step below you. But because people out there want to live vicariously through badasses, they take the number 2 stuff literally and call Drew McIntyre number 2. Now, if you, in your eyes, prefer Roman Reigns as champion over Drew McIntyre, that's fine. I totally respect that. But that's expected in the Roman Reigns character. If you're best in the world, everyone else is a step below you. It's common sense. So Roman Reigns taunting Drew McIntyre fits perfectly. That's Roman Reigns' impression of Drew McIntyre or anyone else. If you look at it closely, Roman Reigns compliments Drew McIntyre a lot. One day you'll be the man. One day you'll be the face of the WWE, and you'll look back on this and you'll thank me and you'll love me and I love you too and this and that. But right now, at this particular time, you are number 2. Easy. You don't have to overthink it. Very, very simple, easy. And who does number 2 work for DT? C-Med, Mish is on the same level as me. We're not number 2. We're teams, there are no number 2. Isn't the phrase, there is no I in team? So, when I'm by myself, I'm number 1. But when I'm doing the show with a co-host, it's team. It's team. So, but you want to laugh? Do you mind? I want to show you the shirt I was going to wear tonight, but I said, nah, because it's going to cause a little controversy. It's literally right here. It'll take me 7 seconds to get it. I'll show you. I'm wearing shorts. I kid you not. I'm wearing real shorts, by the way. I'm not wearing boxers, so. I was going to wear this. But I know it would cause controversy because people would read it and say like, oh, he's talking about a certain someone. I swear to you, I did not buy this shirt with anybody in mind. I just bought like a whole slew of corny shirts, but I was going to wear it tonight. And then I was like, nah, I think some people will kind of like try to think it's insinuating so-and-so. This might be a band shirt, but what maybe we could do? Maybe we could do this. I don't want to hide Piper. I gotta remove it. Look, Undertaker. Yeah, Undertaker. Yeah. Oh, where did I get the shirt? I plugged this once before. $6shirts.com. You'll thank me later. I'm serious. $6. You can get this shirt. $6. Don't go on Amazon and buy it for $20. Because I made that mistake. I have 3 of these shirts. I bought one for $20, and when you buy like 10 shirts, they're only $5. I bought 2 of these for $10 total. $6shirts.com. I have shirts that's like a jar of cheese balls. How many of you like cheese balls? Come on. Cheese balls, it's a little like, hidden pleasure that, guilty pleasure that we don't ever talk about. $6shirts.com. Spell it out. SIX $shirts.com. A lot of really cool shirts there. The Dumpster Fire shirt, I got it there as well. Thank you, Austin, for the kind words, by the way. So, can we talk about the last part? And we are going to, wow, we're going to finish in less than an hour and 45 minutes. Awesome. Because tomorrow night, Mish and I will be back for breakfast soup. We'll talk about the fallout from Survivor Series. Whatever goes down on Raw, we got some wrestling news. We'll talk a little bit, and we'll show the pictorial gallery of Becky Lynch, a very pregnant Becky Lynch, and Seth Rollins. And, yeah, Lone Wolf, they have those shirts. They have that shirt there. They have this shirt. In fact, for anybody that thought that, I was wearing that shirt to insult a certain someone, you could buy it for that certain someone and make them wear it and make it look like that they're no longer affiliated with this stupid guy. So I don't buy shirt. The only shirt I ever bought as a little dig was the shirt about digging holes, because I was like, that's a little bit rough, man. Seriously, I work my ass off. I work my ass off to try to make these enjoyable for everyone. And I'm having a good time, and to say that, I'm digging holes, it's like, C-Med, I was going to wear an Undertaker shirt tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't even think. Actually, the shirt I was going to wear was going to be like a a theme shirt that had like different wrestlers on it, but I didn't even think to pull it out of my storage. I haven't bought an Undertaker shirt in probably about 6-7 years. So, but look, I always keep him in the back. A little tribute to Undertaker. Shaheen Nuclear Heat Graphics and AJ Moore, two wonderful artists that do all this artwork. In fact, Shaheen did this artwork for tonight's show. I think he did a phenomenal, look at that artwork. Beautiful. I thought it was very, very nice. So shout out to him. But digging holes and taking souls. Absolutely. So before we talk about Undertaker, I didn't even shout him out. I wanted to shout him out the other day. FT Gaggiano, shout out to him, my friend. He has been up since 2 a.m. watching Survivor Series, tuning into this show, 7 o'clock in the morning, tuning in right now all the way from South Africa. And trust me, I know that for a fact because he is on our Patreon. And I don't even, look, please don't get mad at me for saying this. I don't even know what currency is that? ZAR? I have no idea. Is that ZAR? I have never heard of that car. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. So shout out to Czar, man. Fort Gaggiano, FT Gaggiano. Much love, my friend. Czar. I feel like a czar. But that's awesome. Yeah, that's commitment. Because like I said, man, I'm serious when I say this. I won't even watch porn at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, sometimes I get up because I can't sleep. In fact, I think it was Wednesday night. I was up at 5:45 in the morning giving it to Mish about something that happened online. I don't want to say right now, but maybe we'll joke about it tomorrow. But seriously, like, I won't watch nothing at 5 o'clock in the morning. I might be lucky to get up to take like a leak. You ever have that? Like, you got to get up like 7 o'clock to go to work or go to school. And like 5 o'clock in the morning, you really got to pee bad. But you're trying to convince yourself like, oh, I could sleep for 2 more hours. I could hold it in. And then because you feel like you got to pee and you hold it in, like you start thinking about it too much. And then you can't fall back asleep. And then you pee anyway. And it's now 5:30 in the morning. And then you can't go back to sleep. And this is no joke. I admitted it before. I don't mind saying it, but I wet my bed until I was about 10 years old. I used to wet the bed, I kid you not. I don't know why, but, I used to, I don't know. I wet the bed. I would wake up in the middle of the night and there'd be a puddle of you-know-what. So, no joke. Shout out to Mohammed Soria, tuning in right now at 6:15 in the morning. Much love, my friend. Much love. In fact, very quickly, shout out to Benjamin, 119, Mystery Man, Smoking Hydro, Who's That, David Rogers, FT Gaggiano, Psycho 187, C-Med, Benjamin. If you want your name mentioned, keep typing right now. Felix Urena, let me see if I can keep doing it before the line comes down. Felix Urena, David Rogers, Larry Rovers, Austin Nance, James Edward, Ken Terminated by DQ, Larry Rovers, Smoking Hydro, South Hitman 1, Philip Jones, I love it, Lone Wolf, Sam I Am, James Edward, John Belinda, JL, Chat Site Forums, Neil Ray, Freddie J, Chris, C-Med, Rockstar. Don't type your name twice. Let everybody else type their names. Brony FN, Mortalico 3, Who's Dad, Doug Eaton, Garth Overstein. I love it. I love it. Anyone else wants shout-outs? Type, and then we'll talk about Undertaker. Brandon Cruz, Nice Analogy 24, Gordon Post, I think we're winding it down. Douglas McKay, George Burns. George, what are you, like 125 now? Junior Jackson. I still remember that. Who was that singer that was nude on Playboy? Vanessa Williams. I'll never forget that Playboy cover. That was one of the first ever Playboy magazines that the Jit Joe Rag came out for young Don Tony. George Burns was on the cover of that Playboy, and I'll never forget. It said, "Oh God, she's nude." And it was Vanessa Williams, nude. And if I remember, I haven't seen the photos since they came out. This was like in the 80s. If I remember correctly, weren't they black and white photos? I remember the Madonna photos that came out. All I remember in the Madonna photos is that they were black and white also, and she had hairy armpits. So, anyway, Tony Gloss, Christian Daniel, David Rogers, Loyal Skill, Ray Durazo, Philip Maffey, Jamie Vaquera, Brian Alex, Kavan Lewis, Tony Gloss, Wrestle Daily, what's up? Drew Pellan, Hulkster, brother, Blood Circuit, Jay Carlos, what's up, Jay Carlos, Philip Maffey, Dude Plays, Latino Heat, and I think that's it for now. So let's wrap this up, everybody. Let's talk about Undertaker. Let's talk about Undertaker. Let's go to the final. There we go. The final farewell. I'm still going to be one of those that going to say something's going to happen for WrestleMania. I think it has to. If you remember my comparison Friday, I brought up Ric Flair. Ric Flair retired after WrestleMania with his match with Shawn Michaels. Yes, he did wrestle in TNA after, and he did a Hulkamania tour, I think, in Australia. But if you remember, one night after Monday Night Raw, I think in Charlotte, North Carolina, they did a tribute to Ric Flair. The WWF locker room. By the way, Vince said WWF tonight. Everybody was like, oh my God, he said WWF. Because he wanted to show that Undertaker goes back so far that it was even World Wrestling Federation at the time. But let me get back to what I was saying. So, you know, you look back, I almost lost my train of thought. Oh, you know what? Let me take this down. So thank you again, FT Gagiano. Thank you very much, my friend. Much appreciated. So you have the Undertaker final farewell. It reminds me more now of that Raw that went off the air when they did that tribute to Ric Flair. You remember that one? I think that DVD that WWE put out, Raw After the Bell, that whole footage is on there. When I was doing hotlines at the time, and I remember clearly when that happened, I said, oh man, I got to see this. How could you do that after Raw? I hope they put it on TV. You know, they got to put it for everybody to see. We didn't see it at the time. And we felt so shortchanged. But you look back on that, yes, they did an official retirement on TV as well. If you remember, Four Horsemen came out and everything else. But that Raw, after it went off the air and they did that for Ric Flair, to me, was the thank you Ric Flair ceremony, the beginning of the end. And I think tonight, this was something that they did not want to spend a large amount of time on for WrestleMania. This was going to be the selling point tonight with Survivor Series. 30 years ago today, like I said earlier, 30 years ago today, let's not cut out Coco Beware. 30 years today, we had this match to the day. So tonight was the tribute. You know, when someone retires, you have the dinner beforehand. Remember the Terry Funk? Good one, Terry Funk. Remember we thought he was going to retire? ECW did a whole dinner for, I think, Terry Funk. And tonight was that. I think now if something happens with Undertaker and it does lead to something at WrestleMania, there's no more tribute. There's no more ceremony. You know, if he makes an appearance here and there, he will. So that's how I looked at it tonight. But again, as I said before, some names notably absent. This is who came out in order for The Undertaker's final farewell. Shane McMahon, complete with piped-in Shane O'Mac chants. Big Show and JBL looking very dapper in suits. Big Show with no tie, JBL with the tie. In fact, why don't I do this? You could get a good look. There you go. We could, you know what? I was going to mention them in order, but let's just do it from this photo over here. From left to right, we got Shawn Michaels with the baseball cap and jeans, suit jacket, T-shirt. You have Booker T looking very dapper in a suit. Kevin Nash looking very, very healthy. Shane O'Mac, JBL looking dapper. The Godfather looking very dapper. There's the Big Show. Jeff Hardy with the Undertaker's logo, black logo, white face paint. You have one member of the Godwins. I think that is Henry O. Godwin. You have Mick Foley, Triple H, Phineas Godwin, who is a little bit cut out over there, Rikishi, Ric Flair, and Kane. And Kane came out in outfit, which I thought was interesting. But Yeah, the Godwins look a little bit like the Harris twins. But again, as I said before, notably absent. It's a little too small, but notably absent. Let's throw out some other names. Let's start actually before we throw out some other names. No, you could throw some names out there. I know before we mentioned Hogan, Austin, The Rock, Sting. No, don't just throw out names just to throw out names. But for me, Hogan, Sting, The Rock, Brother Love, Ted DiBiase, none of those names appeared. Batista, The Rock, none. And I'm a little bit surprised with that. That goes to show you that WWE was looking to keep it, like I said, either work for WWE or you live in the Florida area. That's what it feels like. I'm not saying that every single person that we saw, yes, I don't think Ric Flair lives in Florida. Maybe he does now, but you know what I mean? Like either East Coast or you work for WWE. Otherwise, we're not flying you in. I don't know if that's the case, but Ken thought it was cool to see the Godwins. Speaking of a slap bucket, absolutely, man. But, this was more of friendship behind the scenes. He likes to pay homage to Fuji and take a number 2 on Sam's Burgers. Yeah. I've heard stories about Sam's Burgers. There's a restaurant named Sam's. I don't know if you're talking about Sam in the chat, but there is a legit restaurant, Sam's Hamburgers. That was a chain, I think, somewhere it might have been in the Midwest. There's probably more than one Sam's. I don't think you could own the trademark. It's probably like little different wording. But, yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Sid Vicious. Yeah, Sid Vicious, maybe. But Sid Vicious, hasn't he been talking trash to WWE? So, yeah, there's some names. Notably, Bret Hart. I don't even think Bret Hart is anywhere near Florida right now. I think some people, you know what I think is going to happen, everyone? I think we're probably going to see some tweets come in from some people that say, look, I wish I could have attended. I tried, but unfortunately I have this. But then you think about it and you say, but this is The Undertaker. Like you stop what you're doing. I'm talking about people in the business. This is The Undertaker. There's no answer. You treat it like Saudi Arabia. We want Undertaker. No, he's retired. You don't understand. This is not a yes or no question. Why do I sound Japanese all of a sudden? We want Undertaker. Yeah, but he's not wrestling about. Bring us Undertaker. I wonder what happened if WWE would have brought Brian Lee. Remember that? The Undertaker wasn't there. Teddy Long. Yeah, Teddy. I don't. You'd think Teddy Long may. Nah, I don't think they. Yeah, Teddy Long. Edge, he I don't think is anywhere near. Like I said, the more I think about it, I think if you live anywhere near Florida, even if it's a close by state, then you were invited. But if you were like in the Midwest or the South, and you know what? Maybe because of COVID concerns. That could be it as well. Seriously. So the more I think about it, maybe because of COVID concerns, they were very, very cautious as far as who they brought in. I don't know. I'll tell you, out of everybody, though, Austin not being there and Hogan not being there. I could understand Sting since they really never did anything on camera. Ted DiBiase was very, very early on. Brother Love works there, so I don't know why you wouldn't have him. But Hogan and Austin, more Hogan than anything else, because Hogan is in Florida. So very, very surprised. Also makes you wonder if any of the names that did not appear, are they working out some type of a deal with AEW? And maybe WWE is aware of that and said, no, we're not even going to invite them. Because there were all those rumors about Sting coming in to AEW. That didn't happen. Could always happen. Well, DDP, you know what? I don't think they really want anybody to remember this Sarah storyline. So I don't think that's something they really want to bring up. But, yeah, Benjamin, he dislikes Hogan, but I don't, you know what, man? Yeah, that could be it. It could be something as simple as that, for real. Oh, and Savio Vega was there. Wait a minute. Where is Savio Vega on this list? Where is Savio? Anyone see Savio? Savio disappeared. You know where Savio is? He's probably right to the left of Triple H. I bet you that's where Savio is. because Rikishi looks like he's got a third foot. Doesn't he look like he's got a growth on his right foot? Brother. Yeah, Savio Vega's probably right behind Rikishi. So that's who came out. They did a really nice video package on The Undertaker. Vince McMahon comes out. Now, we saw him not too long ago when he had the interaction with Vince, with Triple H and Stephanie. He came out at the very end of a SmackDown episode, I think it was, and, he just like rambled a little bit. Vince is looking more and more frail when we see him. He obviously, can't talk like he used to. Very emotional tonight. Yes, he mentioned the letters WWF. People made a big deal about that. But, he said it's time for The Undertaker to rest in peace. And, he said that the legacy of Undertaker will live on eternally. And he gave us the dead man, the phenom, The Undertaker. Music hit. They did something with like lightning, and it felt like a guitar solo of his theme. I don't know if my speakers sound a little bit off. Then I was like, are they trying to finagle with this a little bit? But then they did the regular music. Undertaker came out slowly. But the way they had the camera positioned, you would have never known that there was just LED screens there. They did not have anybody in the ring when he came out. They did not have anybody visible when he came out. He cut a very short speech talking about, his career and taking souls and, doing what he did. But it's time, for The Undertaker to rest in peace. They piped in Undertaker chants. They piped in thank you, Taker chants. There was one very cool moment where, and man, I haven't done impersonation of him in years, so I would fail miserably. But there was one point where they did like a 10 gong salute to The Undertaker. And I don't know if it was after the first or second gong, but you heard Paul Bearer. They took a sound clip of Paul Bearer when he was like, oh, yes. I mean, it was just awesome. And you could see Undertaker was a little bit emotional about it. He walked out of the ring. I mean, his speech was very short. I mean, it was really, a couple of sentences and that was it. But they queued up his music again, and he walked down the rampway, and you heard the piped in chants from the soundboard, which I have no problem with. Thank you, Taker chants, Undertaker chants. And then, he did, the whole thing where he lifts up his arm, with his back facing the ring and the fans. And, I like I said, I honestly thought, wouldn't that be newsworthy? Like anybody that interferes, that would be heel number one, immediate. But in hindsight, like I said, I like to think outside the box. Some of my ideas sometimes are great. Some of them happen. Some of them don't. I just throw ideas out there. And I just honestly thought, especially since Undertaker has been working with the big men a little bit more, that, maybe they do somewhere right. A lot of people thought that The Fiend was going to, come out and do something. They did not do it. And to be honest with you, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Once in a while, you're allowed to have a chapter end. There shouldn't always be a to be continued or a comma at the end of the sentence. And WWE many times, look, a lot of us remember the Mark Henry retirement. A lot of people feel one of the greatest swerves in recent memory when Mark Henry came out with that. What color was that? Like not peach. What color was that? And trust me, 10,000 people in the chat will say it immediately. What? Because there's a little delay, a couple of seconds. Salmon. Thank you, salmon. It was like a pink salmon color. He came out. We thought he was going to retire. People were legitimately getting teary-eyed. And he turned. It was freaking awesome. I think a lot of us wanted that tonight. And again, I think it's because we're wrestling fans. We don't want to get older. We want to still feel like kids. A lot of memories from our childhood. And it gets sad when you see that people that you enjoyed your entire lifetime as a wrestling fan becoming to an age where they can't do it anymore. And it's very hard to break away from that. As crazy as this sounds, sometimes it's easier to break away from it when someone dies because there is no alternative. Person passed away. So that's it. It's over. When someone, retires, one more match, you got to come back. And, Shawn Michaels, Saudi Arabia got him back for one more match. But, like I said, I am completely content and fine with this ending the way it is. You know why? Because a week from now, a month from now, a years from now, 10 years from now, we could put this on the TV, watch that ceremony, as small as it was. It wasn't anything. Let's be honest. This ceremony, a lot of people probably felt it was a little bit underwhelming because you probably would have thought they would have done a little bit more. But for The Undertaker and the aura of The Undertaker, I thought it was done just fine. But like I said, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, you could put that back on, watch it, and when it ends and he goes to the back and it goes off the air, that's the end of it. There is no hidden camera footage later on that he's attacked in the back or anything. That's it. This is the tribute. Enjoy it, and we move on. And that's it. So that was your pay-per-view recap tonight. I enjoyed it very much. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this pay-per-view a 7. The matches were decent. The Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, the second half of that match really, did it for me. The other matches were fine. Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley. If I have to pick a match as my least favorite, that probably would have been it. But the storyline did what it needed to do. My favorite match of the night was Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. It delivered. I love the storyline outcome of Lana winning, because like I said, sometimes you can have a positive ending to a chapter. And this is a chapter in Lana's book. And for once, WWE didn't make it controversial, Now you know what's going to happen? Everybody from Nia Jax and Shayna and all of them, they're going to be bitterly jealous that Lana, they'll probably make fun of her on Raw. Lana, she won? Are you kidding me? It's almost like, you remember Eddie Murphy when he talked about an election, when he did, I think, like Eddie Murphy Raw, and like there's a goof up for an election, and then everybody's like, vote for him, and he fucking won? It's just like sometimes you get someone unpredictable that comes ahead. And we'll see where the storyline goes. Just remember, in real life, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are not physically and emotionally putting Lana through tables. Social media is doing that. So anyway, everyone, I'm out of here. I want to cut off before we hit 2 hours because I vowed to try to keep the shows as much as possible under 2 hours. I think we did a very good recap tonight. We had a great conversation. And join me tomorrow night in the comment section. Give me your thoughts on Survivor Series tonight. I'll definitely see them. Your fellow friends will see them as well. And before you go, if you enjoyed the show, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And tomorrow night, Mish and I will be back for Breakfast Soup Raw right after Monday Night Raw, 11:05 p.m. So join us. And that's pretty much it. So everyone have a great night. Stay safe. And if for any reason you're not able to tune into any of the shows before Thanksgiving, have a great Thanksgiving holiday. I will be on vacation from Thursday until next Monday, but I should be back in time for next Monday's show. And I tell you, I'm ecstatic that we were able to do this on Wi-Fi tonight with no issues whatsoever. So good deal. So everyone have a great night. Take care, be well, stay safe, and thank you as always for the support. Let me know what you thought of the pay-per-view. Have a great night, everybody. Ciao.